So we're going to help out with the sourdough issue. That's coming up. We'll help Joe, I think it was. Was it Joe? Yeah, it was Joe. We're going to help Joe the sourdough, and we're going to dive back into the BBC archive.
This is Radio 2.
On BBC Sounds.
And on your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 2.
BBC News at 11 o'clock. This is Anthony Birchley. Lord Goldsmith has resigned as an Environment Minister, accusing Rishi Sunak of being uninterested in climate and nature. In a highly critical letter, Zac Goldsmith said the government had abandoned its commitments and accused the Prime Minister of apathy. He's been a close ally of Boris Johnson and was criticised yesterday by MPs who said he tried to undermine their investigation into Mr Johnson. Our political correspondent Ian Watson is following developments.
He criticised the committee that was inquiring into whether Boris Johnson had misled or lied to Parliament. They'd criticised him. Number 10 said that they had full confidence in Zac Goldsmith. But it turns out today that Zac Goldsmith does not have full confidence in Number 10. He says that Rishi Sunak is not so much hostile to the environment, but uninterested. And he accuses the government of going back on a promise to spend more than £11 billion in aid.
The French Prime Minister, Elisabeth Borne, has condemned rioting across the country as inexcusable. Hundreds of people were arrested last night in a third night of clashes, which was sparked by the shooting of a teenager by police near Paris. The Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, has said a new plan to increase staff numbers in the NHS in England represents a sea change in how the service is run. The 15-year plan includes an expansion of training schemes for doctors and nurses and more flexible working options. Adam Brimlow is from NHS Providers, which represents trusts. He said that the announcement looked promising.
When you look at the themes that have been presented, that emphasis on recruitment, also retention and training, that's tick, tick, tick. That's what you'd want to see in a long-term workforce plan, something that we and others have been campaigning for a very long time.
Police say a 23-year-old man and a teenage boy have been stabbed to death in Islington in North London. Scotland Yard said officers were called just after 11:30 last night. A third person was wounded and is being treated in hospital. No arrests have been made. The boss of Centrica, which owns British Gas, has warned that energy prices are likely to stay high for the foreseeable future. Chris O'Shea said he believed the worst of the crisis was over, but there were still risks. Temperatures on the BBC Weather app and on the website are back to where they should be after users complained it was showing highs normally expected in February. BBC Weather said there'd been a technical glitch first thing this morning. The weather presenter Simon King had to apologise to listeners who were confused.
The temperatures are showing about 7 or 8 Celsius for the next few days, which of course isn't accurate. I can tell you that for the next few days, temperatures will be about 16 to 23 degrees by day, and by night, about 9 to 12 degrees Celsius. There is still a fix going on for that, so apologies if you're checking the app or the website this morning.
And play is resuming at the second men's Ashes Test. England are 278 for 4 in their first innings in reply to Australia's 416 all out. That's the BBC News at 3 minutes past 11.
Thanks, Anthony.
BBC Radio 2.
We have someone very special who's going to help Geordie with the sourdough after this. Katy Perry.